In this video, I'm going to show you how to install Cisco UCCX 12.5 from scratch. I make a couple of assumptions. One is that you already have Call Manager installed and running. If you still need to do that, check out my channel. I have a whole series on getting that up and running. I'm going to also assume you have an ISO. You can get that from Cisco's website directly. And the good news about that is, unlike Call Manager, this is a bootable ISO. So the one that I installed was, let's see, not that one. Yes, this one. UCCX 12.5 UCOS right there. You'll find it. I'll also leave the link to it in case you do have a Cisco account. And then you are also going to need to make sure you have an OVA template. I will also leave the link for that, but you can either download the template from one of these links, or you can use the guide that they have for your version to get it a virtual machine set up. Another thing that you are going to need is you're going to need a DNS server and an NTP server. I have both of those running in my virtual sandbox environment. If you want to know more about getting that set up, again, check out my other series. I downloaded ESXi on a desktop and set that all up. So then the other thing you will need, you're going to need to plan ahead and make sure you have your IP address and your host name picked out. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to get started by adding the DNS entry. So this is the server that I was talking about. I'm going to go into the forward lookup zone. I'm going to add a new host, and I will call it lab CUCM, no, UCCX-01. And then the IP address that I'm choosing for my system is 10.0.0.12. Reason being, my call managers are .10 and .11, so this just makes logical sense to me. So I'm going to add host, and that was successful. And so now I am done in DNS, and I can start deploying my machine. So I actually set up a different host for UCCX because it's beefy, and I was running out of resources on my other host. So I'm going to start from scratch here. Let me just remove this. And I right click this, create register VM. I'm going to deploy a virtual machine from OVF or OVA template. Lab UCCX-01. Then I'm going to grab the template that I downloaded from Cisco. Next. I only have one data store. Next. I agree. Next. I'm going to choose 100 agent because this requires quite a bit already. And I'm going to click next. Review the settings, and finish. Now, one thing I didn't have to do is I had to, for whatever reason, there wasn't a 12.5 OVA template. So I downloaded the 12.0 version, which I think is a little bit different. So I need to make sure that I have 2 CPUs, 14 gigs of RAM, and 146 gigabyte hard drive. So let me go back and just, oh, that's still being deployed. Okay, that finished, and it actually turned itself on, so I had to power it off. So now I'm going to go into the settings, and yep, I can see that this only has 10 gigs, and it needs to be 14 gigs. So I'm going to, and this also needs to be 14. What is 14 gigs? Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to leave that how it is. I don't really want it to use up all my memory. We'll see how that goes. I'm just going to reserve 10 gigs because I only have like 15 gigs of memory on this whole host. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that how it is, 146. That's fine. So I should be able to save this, but actually I now need to choose the ISO image, that I uploaded to my data store that I got from Cisco's site. So that is right here. I'm going to select that. So it's going to connect it, power on, and I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to power it on. And then I'm going to open the console, open a browser console. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to put this in full screen so that you can see. Yes, Cisco Unified Contact Center Express. I do want to continue with the install. And I'm going to proceed. I do not want to install an upgrade, and that is fine. I'm going to use America Detroit. NIC speed, okay, that's fine by me. No, I don't. And the host name is going to be lab CUCM-01. IP address 10.0.0.12. 255.255.255.0/24 network. And the gateway 10.0.0.1. And of course, this all might be different depending on your system and your subnet that you're adding this to. Looks good to me. Okay. Primary DNS. So if you don't have a DNS server, you're not going to be able to install this. So you need to make sure you have DNS set up. I do not have a secondary DNS, and it's uptime. Ooh. I'm going to have to double check that a second. I did uptimenetworkandvoice.com. I couldn't remember if I put voice or network first. So uptimenetworkandvoice.com. Okay. Enter the platform administration username and password. Just remember whatever you put in here. Organization. Uptime. Network. I'll say. And this is for certificate generation, so this is going to make a self-signed certificate, and you could either add it to whatever cert authority you have if you have a local one, or you can submit it to an outside certificate authority. That's actually a really good thing to have because your finesse agents will hate clicking through all the errors that you're going to get. But anyways, okay, I'm going to call it lab UCCX-01, location Grand Rapids, Michigan, United States. Okay. Is this the first node in a cluster? Yes. NTP server. And once again, if you don't have an NTP server, it's not going to work. So I have Meinberg NTP service running on my server, and that is in one of the videos in my call manager series as well. And here is a password you're going to want to remember as well. So if you're adding nodes to your cluster, you're going to have to know this. So if you wanted to add a subscriber, UCCX is going to use this password to join your cluster. So don't forget this. You can always reset it later, but it's easy to remember. And I'm going to press OK. And I'm not going to do mail. Application username. Okay, so this is for the web pages. So the other one is what you'll log in to the CLI with, or the OS administration. This is what you use to manage the phones and gateways, etc. So I usually make it different than the other one. platform configuration is complete. Press OK or back to change the configuration. So I'm going to press OK here, and this will take a while to install. So hopefully there won't be any errors, and I'm just going to let this run, and hopefully the next time I press start on the recording, we're looking at a login on the console where it's asking for their credentials. So I'm going to go ahead and press pause and let this run. Okay, maybe you caught it because I missed something. I put in the wrong host name when I put in DNS, I believe. When I set the host name, I set it to lab CUCM 01, which caused problems. And it threw an error saying that it was the wrong host name, so it walked me back through that platform setup, and I had to put in the correct host name, lab UCCX 01. And then after that, it ran through and it finished installing correctly. So I should now be able to log into this. Okay, and the command line interface started up, so I'm going to see where the services are at. So I'm going to use utils, service list. And this might take a minute. Started. So we should be able to get to the web page and start connecting this to Call Manager. So I opened up a browser and entered HTTPS 10.0.0.12, which was the IP address I gave this UCCX node. We hit advanced and proceed, and there's a problem with DNS, and I think I know why this is happening. My computer is not on the domain. So I opened Notepad++ as administrator, and then I can put a link to modifying your host file in this description, but I followed this path, and there's the host file, right-clicked, edited that with Notepad+, added the IP address on the left here, tab, then the host name, clicked save, and then in the background I saw this actually load. So it's not private, that's okay. I'm going to continue and log in. Okay, so this is going to walk us through the integration into Call Manager immediately. So in Call Manager, I'm going to create an account for UCCX to use to connect. So I'm going to go to User Management, and I'm going to go to Application User. And I'm going to add New, and I'm going to name it UCCX Axle Admin. And I'm going to set a password. And that should be it. I just need to now add to access control group. So once this pops up, click find, and I'm going to give it all of them except for these top two and the bottom one. So I'm going to go ahead and add selected, save. So now I should be able to use this account to connect. So IP address of my Call Manager. Okay, and this is actually something new for 12.5. I'm going to have to go into the OS administration, and I'm going to have to actually upload the Tomcat certificate. Okay, I did manage to get through that last page, and I'll show you how I did that. So I went to OS administration. This is on Call Manager. So on my Call Manager, I went to OS administration, then I went to security, and I went to certificate management. Then I clicked find, and I organize it by certificate by clicking on that. And then this is my publisher right here. So I already uploaded my publisher, but I also have to upload the subscriber, I just realized. So I will do that as well. That's perfect to show you what I did. So I'm actually going to go to the subscriber. I'm going to just change this to 11, which is my subscriber, and log in, because I want my publisher and subscriber to both be synced to UCCX. So once again, security, certificate management, and then organize it by certificate, and that should bring Tomcat up to the top. And so I need to do the Tomcat trust from lab CUCM 02.uptimenetworkinvoice.com. So I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to download the .pem file, save that. So that's done. Now I will go back to UCCX. Now I need to go to CM platform on UCCX. So let me copy that. Then we're going back to UCCX, and where it says App Admin, I'm pasting in CM platform to get to the OS administration of UCCX. So now I'm in the OS administration of UCCX, and I'm going to log in. And I'm going to go to Security, Certificate Management, and I'm going to upload Certificate Security Chain. I'm going to change this to Tomcat Trust. I'm going to choose the file, and the one that I just downloaded from the Call Manager subscriber, and I'm going to click Upload. That can take a minute. And now it says to restart, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to close. If you try to do it without restarting, it won't work. So let me go into the CLI. And log in. And then I'm going to use the command utils system restart. Yes, and this will probably take 10 to 20 minutes for the web page to be back up, so I'm going to pause this. Okay, so everything's started up again. I'm going to go ahead and click next. Okay, and I'm going to choose Unified CCX, and This series is going to document me learning how to make